Arc 3.0 has been out for a few weeks now, and I wanted to share a build that I would consider one of my favorite hunter builds so far, and I'm calling it Jolt of Shinobu. Gonna have to do a better job coming up with the names there. But on to parts of the build. Starting off, you have the exotic gauntlets, Shinobu Vow, with the perk New Tricks. Improves Skip Grenade, and you gain an additional Skip Grenade charge. Skip Grenade returns energy when it damages enemies. Move on to aspects and fragments, starting off with Flow State, which allows you to become Amplified after killing a jolted target. While Amplified, your dodge recharges faster, your reload speed is increased, and you're more resilient while dodging. Lethal Current, gain increased melee range after a dodge, melees jolt the target, and cause a damaging aftershock on hits. Jolted targets are blinded after receiving melee damage. Skip Grenade is the obvious grenade of choice. As for melee, it'll be Combination Blows, which after gaining a charged melee kill, you gain increased melee damage which stacks up to 3 times, as well as heal you. When it comes to fragments, there's a lot of flexibility to be had, with really only one fragment being necessary for the build to be complete, which is Spark of Shock, which causes your arc grenades to jolt targets upon hit. Spark of Resistance is also somewhat of a must-have, as it increases your resistance when you're surrounded by combatants, and since you'll also be throwing in punches with your combination blows, this is pretty important as well, but not as necessary, as you can build up your resistance up to tier 10, which gives you about 40% damage reduction. As for other fragments in the build, Spark of Feedback is a good choice to have, as it increases your melee damage by 75% upon receiving melee damage from enemies. Now I will say that upon my personal testing, it's kind of been hit or miss. There's been moments I've been meleeed and then I don't get the damage boost, and then there's times I do, so keep that in mind. Spark of Amplitude is also useful as well, as rapidly defeating targets while your Amplify creates an orb of power. Now this is useful because if you're rocking something such as Explosive Light, it makes it extremely easy to get up to those timed 6 stacks, and if you're using perks such as Recuperation, where Orbs of Light heal you, you're able to create a whole bunch of Orbs of Light with this fragment equipped. Spark of Ions creates a Ionic Trace upon defeating a jolted enemy, so this allows for more ability regen. And the last 2 fragments I want to talk about is Spark of Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace, and Spark of Beacons. While you are amplified, your Arc Special Weapon Final Blows create a blinding explosion. Now, as mentioned earlier, you really only need one specific fragment equipped, which is the Spark of Shock, and kind of sort of need another, which is Spark of Resistance, if you want to maximize survivability as much as possible. But aside from that, go crazy with the fragments that you like. As for weapons, it's more of a personal type of thing if you're pushing more towards ad clear, then something such as Strega, Salvage, or Servo and Trinity Gold come to mind. And if you want to focus on single target damage, a shotgun with 1-2 punch helps immensely, as it stacks with combination blow, increasing your melee damage and the aftershock damage from lethal current. And finally, we come down to the armor mods. Now, similar to the fragments, there's a lot of flexibility to be had here in terms of what to equip, but in terms of what I'm personally using with this loadout, I'm using Impact Induction, which gives grenade energy on melee hits, Well of Ions for extra melee damage upon picking up a Arc Well, Healthy Finisher to help with healing, as your only source of healing really comes from combination blow, unless again you're using something such as Recuperation or Heal Thyself, Ashes to Assets for more super energy, which goes pretty well, as Healthy Finisher uses super energy, Melee Wellmaker, and Elemental Ordnance for Arc Wells, as well as Seeking Wells because I'm lazy. That's pretty much it. And lastly, I have Bountiful Wells on for more ability energy, but as I said, when it comes to the mods, it's pretty flexible, seeing as the exotic gives you your grenade energy back, your melee recharges your dodge, and Flow State also gives you dodge energy if you don't have a melee available. So you can swap things around and include something such as Font of Might if you're using a Arc Primary, or Heal Thyself for more healing, or seasonal mods, which admittedly I have yet to unlock, but I will unlock them at some point. And that's the build. You have crowd control options with the grenade, jolt, and aftershock explosions from lethal current, single target damage with combination blow and a 1-2 punch shotgun, ability regen through the exotic, melee, fragments, and options to heal with Healthy Finisher and the melee. When it comes to which super to use, I've pretty much only been using Gathering Storm, as it's a one and done super, and the fact that it's a new super after 4 years now for the art class? Anyways, and it deals a good amount of damage. Granted, only if one person is actually using the super or has it active at least, as I believe the jolt portion of the skill or the super does not stack with each other. As for my thoughts on Arc 3.0 so far, Jolt and Amplify have been nice additions to the Arc subclass, though I wish there were more benefits while being amplified, such as more super damage for Arc Warlocks, for example. My biggest issue so far has been the lack of a healing option when compared to Void and Solar. Of course, there's the Spark of Resistance, and now that resistance has been fixed on Arc, Titan, and Warlock, that increases the survivability when running those 2 classes. Also, one thing that I forgot to point out that is a bit of a pain point when it comes to this build is that when you get a kill with the aftershocks on lethal current with the hunter, getting a kill with the explosive explosion specifically kind of prevents combination blow from being triggered, so that really affects the flow of the combat. But aside from that, this build has been extremely fun. Again, there's so many options in terms of ad control, damage output. So that pretty much wraps up the video. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on Arc 3.0 as well as the season so far. If you have any build suggestions, I would love to hear them down below, as I will be looking into Arc, Titan, and Warlock builds, focusing on what you can do without seasonal mods. Main reason being is the fact that they are temporary, and unless we see changes to the subclasses, will be consistent throughout the seasons. And I just really want to stress test what's possible with, again, what we have and what will be sticking with the class once the season is over. Again, unless we see some type of patch come out for the classes. But aside from that, I'm gonna end the video here. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you have any feedback on this style of content that I'm trying to produce, let me hear it down below, and I'm gonna cut the video here. So yeah, you guys go, I guess, plunder the booty, as that's the pirate theme of the season. So I'm gonna go now.